administration. Since it is being presented and heard virtually, that is electronically over the internet, if you will, the court further notifies all parties that all participants that the court has expressly prohibited any person, whether in this Zoom conference or observing these proceedings over the court's YouTube channel, from recording any portion of this proceeding, whether that is accomplished by electronics or using the recording features of those devices or those protocols, or photographically. I had someone take a screenshot of some of the proceedings one time. That's absolutely prohibited, and all participants are so prohibited, with the exception of the official court reporter for this court, who is, of course, recording this proceeding, transcribing it, just as he would do if we were in person in court and having this hearing in the old-fashioned live manner. With those pronouncements, for purposes of this hearing, the court also understands that the parties have reached agreements that dispose of all matters pending before the court in this divorce proceeding. Further, that the parties wish to present those agreements and prove up the divorce. With those understandings, Ms. Hutton, you represent petitioner. Are you and your client ready to proceed?
Your Honor, I am ready, and Ms. Pena is present.
Thank you. And Mrs. Fuller, are you and your client ready to proceed?
Your Honor, we're both present, ready.
Thank you. Who's going to, I assume you're going to present through a witness by proving up the divorce and stating the agreement and having that confirmed. Who's going to present? Is that you, Ms. Hutton?
Yes, we're the petitioner, Your Honor.
All right, let me call your witness.
I'm going to call both of them, Your Honor, and so I'll first call Mr. Pena.
All right. Mr. Pena, would you raise your right hand and be sworn as a witness? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you may give in this cause shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. You may lower your hand. You may go ahead, Ms. Hutton.
If it pleases the court, I was just notified that the clerk has accepted and file marked the Rule 11 agreement. If the court would take judicial notice of that document that was just filed.
So noted. It has been handed to me with the file. Pardon?
I have no objection to the court doing that.
Thank you. Go ahead, Ms. Hutton.
Would you please state your name? Has he been, I may have been looking down. Was he placed under oath?
Yes, ma'am. He was sworn in.
Would you state your name for the court, your full legal name?
Juan Cruz Pena, Jr.
And are you currently married to Cecilia Jeanette Pena?
Yes.
And you had how many children?
4.
And what are their names?
Zantley, Zayden, Jaron, and Jarek.
And did you adopt any children during the marriage?
No, ma'am.
Have you and you go by Johnny, is that correct?
Yes.
And do you prefer that I call you Johnny or Juan?
Either way, it's fine.
All right. Did you read the agreement that you entered into yesterday?
Yes, I do.
And did you have an opportunity to go over that with your attorney?
Yes.
And is that your signature at the end of the document?
Yes, it is.
Did you freely enter into that agreement?
Yes.
And does the agreement contain all of the agreements that you and Ms. Pena entered into with regard to this divorce?
Yes.
Are you asking the court to accept the agreement as you entered into yesterday at about 4:30.
Yes.
Do you recall what that document was called?
I come back with that.
Was this document called an irrevocable Rule 11 agreement?
Not sure what that.
Judge, can you share the screen with him, please? Rule 11.
Do that.
Yes, I agree to everything that was presented to me.
Okay. And it contains every agreement that the two of you entered into.
Yes,
And if there's not something in there, there's nothing to be added. Is that correct?
yes,
Did the two of you agree that who has the right to designate the residence in this document of the children?
yes,
And did you also agree specifically as to which party would designate which child's residence?
yes,
And that right is exclusive to that party.
yes,
And you have the exclusive right to determine the primary residence of Jarek, Jaron, and Zayden Pena.
yes,
And Cecilia has the exclusive right to designate the resident of Zantley Pena.
yes,
You also are joint conservators, and you've expressly set out how the visitation will occur. Is that true?
yes,
On page 2 of the document, did you sign and understand that it says there's a right of first refusal if a parent during the possession period is not able or cannot have the possession of the child? The other parent shall have the right to possession until the parent can possess the child?
yes,
And that's your full agreement. And that is expressly what you intended that to say.
yes,
Did you also say and agree to that you can take Zantley to school and pick him up from school unless Cecilia is present?
yes,
And that you will return Zantley over to Cecilia when she is able to possess the child, but no later than 7 p.m.
yes.
How far away do you live from her?
3 minutes.
So you also agreed that you must return Zantley when notified by Cecilia that she is available to possess the child.
Yes, ma'am.
All the rights and duties are equal, and you both have independent, and you both are going to be paying child support based on the Texas guidelines.
Yes,
On the 5th weekend, you're going to continue to use the visitation schedule that you have with some exceptions, and you're going to start alternating the 5th weekend of the month instead of the way that you're currently doing it.
yes,
And you will start the very next 5th weekend, you will start the 5th weekend visitation. Is that true?
yes, ma'am.
And then thereafter it will alternate.
Yes, ma'am.
The insurance, you'll keep the kids on the current insurance and split equally 1/2 each, all unpaid dental and medical.
Yes,
You've expressly divided out all assets and debts in this Rule 11.
yes,
Nothing was omitted.
no,
At the
Ms. Hutton,
time,
may I ask a question just for sake of time? Did you accidentally skip 4A? Are you reading every provision of the Rule
no,
11?
ma'am, I'm not. I'm just going through the overall provisions, Jeannie, so that we can show that we're all talking about the same document, since we're not, I'm not able to
Okay.
hand it to him.
Yes, ma'am. Just making sure you,
Can you see this document? Mine's not a very good copy this morning because we just got it off the press. Is this your signature right here?
Yes.
Do you think that the proposed Rule 11 agreement is in the best interest of your children?
Yes.
Do you think that the division of the assets and the debts is a fair and equitable division of the property and debts?
Yes.
Do you think that the visitation that you have agreed to and the exclusive right to designate the residence is in the best interest of your children?
Yes.
Has the marriage become insupportable because of discord or conflict of personality and destroyed the marriage?
What's that?
Is this marriage become insupportable and the conflicts that between you causes this marriage to be that you are wanting a divorce?
Yes.
Do you expect to reconcile? Get back together?
No, ma'am.
Do the children own any property?
Not that I know of. I mean, everything was verbally.
Okay. And the final paragraph, this was a irrevocable Rule 11 agreement, and the parties went so far as to actually say in the final paragraph that this is, we want the court to understand that it's the party's intentions that it would be the same as an irrevocable mediated settlement agreement. Is that true?
Yes.
I pass the witness.
Judge, I have no questions of this witness. Clearly, this is our agreement. We've signed it and it's filed with the court.
All right, thank you. You may call your next witness.
Ms. Pena?
Yes,
Would you raise your right hand and be sworn as a witness? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you may give in this cause shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
I do.
Thank you. You may lower your hand. You may proceed, Sutton.
Would you please state your name for the record, please, your full legal name?
Cecilia Jeanette Pena.
Do you go by Cece?
Yes, ma'am.
May I call you that?
Yes,
When you filed this case, had you lived in the state of Texas for 6 months?
yes,
And had you lived in the county for 90 days?
yes,
And are you now expecting a child?
no,
Has this marriage become insupportable because of discord or conflict of personalities?
yes,
Do you expect any reconciliation?
no,
Did you enter into an agreement yesterday finalizing all of the agreements that you made with Johnny Pena?
yes,
Did you hear the testimony Johnny gave with each and every element in the Rule 11 agreement?
yes,
Did you have the opportunity to go over this document with me?
yes,
Did you ever understand each and every element or agreement rather in this document?
understood it all. Yes,
And this is all your agreements.
yes,
Is this your signature on the last page?
yes,
Did you freely enter into this agreement?
yes,
Do you believe that all of the agreements contained therein are in the children's best interest?
yes,
is there anything omitted from this agreement, or does this fully contain each and everything that the two of you have agreed to?
It's all agreed. Yes.
And you signed understanding and reading the final paragraph that the two of you agreed that this is, you can't revoke it or change it, and that you went so far as to say this is equal to a mediated settlement agreement as enforceable under the case law and statutes in Texas.
Yes.
Do you think the division of the property and debts is fair and equitable?
Yes.
Are you asking the court to grant you a divorce today?
Yes.
And are you asking the court to approve all of the agreements, the Rule 11, and to execute it as a mediated settlement agreement?
Yes.
I'll pass the witness.
Ms. Pena, are you requesting that your maiden name be restored?
Yes.
What would you like your maiden name to be? Or your name to be?
Valadez.
Can you spell that?
It's V as in Victor, A-L-A-D-E-Z.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. That's the only questions I have, Your Honor.
Any redirect, Ms. Hutton?
Just for the record, would you please spell your entire legal name as it will be in the final decree, so that sometimes we've had some mistakes with that. So let's have you spell out your entire legal name that you are asking the court to change your name to.
Okay. Cecilia, C-E-C-I-L-I-A, Jeanette, J-E-A-N-E-T-T-E, Valadez, V-A-L-A-D-E-Z.
Thank you. Your Honor, I have nothing further.
Anything further, Ms. Fuller?
Your Honor, a respondent doesn't have any witnesses to call. We have nothing further. Rest and close.
I have one question for clarification. There was a question from Ms. Hutton to Mr. Pena, and I'm not sure that I understood the question. And so let me ask for clarification. What is the agreement with respect to child support?
Judge,
No, go ahead.
Mr. Pena, you have how many children that will be in your care and custody?
3,
And how many will Ms. Pena have in her custody?
1,
And so your child support will be figured on one child, is that true?
yes,
And her child support will be figured on 3 children.
yes,
And you will be using the state guidelines to look at the how to determine. You'll both be providing your gross pay stubs, and then we'll use the code to determine the child support. Is that true?
yes.
I'll pass the witness.
Anything further, Ms. Fuller?
no, sir.
My understanding is that information is not in the Rule 11 agreement. Is that correct?
Your Honor, the specific amounts are not, but we have exchanged discoveries, so we do have that financial information as far as the gross.
Have the calculations been made using the method that Ms. Hutton described, namely the statutory guidelines method?
No, sir, not yet.
Your Honor, I'm looking through. Ms. Fuller, my copy that I've been handed is sort of blurry, Do you recall looking at the document, what number we set forth the child support provision?
Page 2, D3. And it just says, according to the
It just says
guidelines.
child support to be paid according to guidelines.
Right. We don't have the amount in the,
Do you have the gross?
not in the Rule 11. You're asking me to find it right now?
We're presenting evidence on the final hearing. I didn't want us, y'all have taken a great deal of pains to do this correctly and properly, which the court greatly appreciates. I don't want any problem to develop later because somebody might suggest that there wasn't any evidence to
Sir,
support.
if it pleases the court, let me attempt to do some question. Mr. Pena, are you employed?
Yes,
Where are you employed?
self-employed.
And do you file a tax return?
Yes, I filed.
And do you recall how much your gross income was approximately last year?
Yes, I actually has the exact number here.
All right. What was your exact number last year?
$32,196.
Do you have, and so what kind of what do you do for, as your employment?
I do construction.
Okay, and so that's your gross amount, or is that
That's
what?
gross.
That's gross?
Yes.
I'll pass the witness.
What about Mrs. Pena?
Ms. Pena?
Judge, I have
You muted before you finished, Ms. Fuller, and I couldn't hear the rest of what you said.
well, Ms. Hutton was speaking, so I didn't want to speak over her. I have an exhibit that we can offer for Ms. Pena's.
That's fine, either way.
Let me see if I'm trying to locate it, but you go ahead, Ms. Hutton, you can ask.
I can just do it by questions. Ms. Pena, where are you employed?
Fisher County Hospital in Rotan, Texas.
And do you work hourly or do you work on a salary?
Hourly,
And how much do you make an hour?
$29.78.
And what does your work week look like? How many hours a week do you work?
Between 36 to 40 hours.
And do you have access to your last pay stub?
I believe so, yes.
Can you do that for us now, or would that take a long time? Or
I just have to run to my car, to the trunk, and get my purse. It'd take
Oh.
like 30 seconds.
that's clearly up to the court. Would you be willing to give Ms. Fuller and I a copy of that last pay stub that you have in your vehicle?
Yes, ma'am, I could just take a picture and email it to you if you'd like.
And do you recall how many hours you worked on that pay stub?
I don't recall. I'm going to say between 74 to 78 hours, possibly.
And so do you get paid bi-weekly or weekly?
Bi-weekly.
Okay. I'll pass the witness.
No questions, Your Honor.
Ms. Pena, would your gross amount on your paycheck? Oh, let's see, I did that wrong. Let me. Be approximately $9,800.
9,800 per month?
No, that on that last 2-week paycheck.
No, not 9,800, no.
It should have been closer to,
Judge, it
Yes.
should be 5161 monthly gross.
No,
How much per hour do you get paid?
29.78.
Okay.
May I, Judge?
Yes.
It's my understanding that would be 61,942.40 gross on a 52-week pay period, or 52 pay periods.
How many hours a week did you calculate that?
40.
How many hours a week did you use to reach that calculation?
40.
it doesn't
No
always work
overtime.
40.
I used 38 because she said she worked between 36 and 40 hours. Is that accurate, Ms. Pena?
Yes, sir.
That would be $58,845.28.
Divide that by 12.
$4,903.
That's what I
77 cents.
got. That's
I-
per month.
I didn't hear that number. I'm sorry.
$4,903.77 per month. Which would make that biweekly paycheck and pay stub that you were looking at be around $2,263.28. Does that sound accurate, Ms. Pena?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, does anybody have anything else that they wish to present?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Judge, I would just ask Ms. Hutton just a clarification question just between the lawyers. Her child support amount is going to be higher than his. Are you wanting to offset and just order her to pay a lesser amount? Are you wanting to order both of them to pay?
They're supposed to both pay.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, I think it can be done either way, but that's fine.
Okay. Anything further?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Then I grant the divorce on the evidence presented. I find there are children of this marriage. I approve the agreements that the parties have reached for the conservatorship, support, and access with and to the children. Finding those agreements to be in the best interest of the children. I also approve the division of property that the parties have reached and agreed to as set out in their Rule 11 agreement and presented to the court. I find that to be just, right, and equitable. I grant petitioner's request to have the former name of Cecilia Jeanette Valadez restored and is so ordered. That concludes the hearing and the pronouncement. I will sign the decree when it's presented, anticipating that it would be signed by at least by both parties. At least by both attorneys. Anything else?
Nothing further. Thank you so much. Nice to see you, Ms. Fuller.
Then we're in recess. Thank you all.
Nothing for me. You're
Nice to see